Number one of my class.
Good afternoon, YouTube. Cuts by Dre back in the building, New Styles Mobile Barber, and today we in the shop and we're doing the undercut bald fade with a beard trim on my client. See, he has braids on top, so no need to mess with the top. I pinned it up to get the hair out the way. I like to start my bald fades, or any fade of that matter, with the clipper, all the way closed, a zero, pretty much the lever closed, and I go around and I clean up the head at the bottom as clean as I can get it, going around the bone in the back of the head, the occipital bone in the back. Try to get that nice and clean as much as possible. I like to do my fades in real time if you've been checking out my channel, because I like to show y'all exactly how long it should take to do a fade. I focus on speed and professionalism. The faster you cut, the more money you can make. So, everybody wants to make more money. So I've primarily focused on speed. As you can see, I'm not going overly fast right here. I'm pretty much taking my time, cleaning them up nice and clean, going around the bottom. So, as I was saying, I never start my fades with the ball clipper, and that's to save a step, and also I think the fade is a more smoother at the very end, more gradual. I like to start my fades as close as I possibly can with my clippers, with my guard, with the lever all the way closed. I'm using my Boost FX clippers today. And right here, you see I'm doing what I call is a pre-shape up. The reason why I do this is because, I don't like to push hairlines back. Most barbers don't. So as long as the hair is still dark, if I do this pre-shape up before I start the fade, as you can see, the hair is still dark around that area, so I can see where his natural hairline is. If I was to begin to fade him before I did this, all of that would be a lot lighter, and it would be a lot harder to actually see that hairline. And it also lets you keep that front part a little darker. I won't accidentally fade it too light so that I can't see those vertical bars on the side, because I think when that vertical bar is a little darker, it makes the shape up look a lot better. You don't have to use highlights to bring that line out. You can use highlights. I do use them, but you don't have to use as much, because that vertical bar, as you can see, the darkness is still there. That line is still there, so it gives you that sharpness, that hairline. It gives you that nice sharp look. Right now, I put on my one guard, and I'm going up, against, I'm fading out all that bulk area. Not necessarily doing any type of gradual fading right here. I just got the lever closed with the one guard, and I'm pretty much just taking out all of that bulk right there. All of that bulk, and I'm running all the way up to the top of his braid. Not having to really adjust the guard or fade anything. Just making it all even, all one level. Brushing the hair down with my brush, taking off that excess hair so that I can see what's cut. A lot of times, you hope customers come in with a dry head, because if it's a lot of grease on the head, that's going to make your job a lot harder. You really can't go and wash customers' hair out with braids, as you could if they didn't have braids. So you got to pretty much inform your client, if they're repeat clients, please try to come to the shop with your hair already dry, already washed as much as possible. Now I'm starting to try to take that line out. I'm put on my half guard now, and now is where I'm starting to fade. I'm trying to take that line out. I'm not going all the way up to the very top, because I got on a closer guard and I got my lever pushed all the way to the front. So pretty much now I'm just trying to fade that line out. These are the easiest fades for me. They're almost like taking money from a candy from a baby. That expression, easy to take. Candy from a baby. Here it is now. I'm starting to fade the bottom line out. I took my guard completely off. Still brushing down with the comb so that I can see what's cut, what's left on there. I'm stroking, flicking my wrist out slightly, as I attempt to take that bottom line out. The higher I go in the head, the more I push the lever back. Each time I pull away from the head, I'm adjusting the lever and I'm combing at the same time. So there's a reason why I pull the clipper back, because I'm adjusting the lever. You can't see it actually. Sometimes you might can catch my thumb hit that lever, but that's what I'm doing. Each time I pull away from his head, I'm making an adjustment to the lever. Here, as you can see, I put the guard back on, the number one guard. I'm going at the top, trying to take some of that bulk out, just trying to make that nice and clean as possible. So normally I do my fades all the way around. I'm not using my chest cam today. I like that a lot better. This is a stationary camera that's attached, to a tripod. Thus, I'm fading one side of his head at a time. That's not normally how I cut hair. I like to do the entire head, fade the bottom of one side, spin them around. That way, both sides are pretty much the same, uniform. I don't like fading one side, then turn around and fading the other side, because in doing that, you have a tendency to not duplicate the same thing that you did on the other side, because you did the other side 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, and now you're starting over fresh. So I believe if you do the entire head at one time, spin them around and fade the entire head at one time, opposed to doing it the way you see me now, I think you come out with a much better fade as well. And I'm only doing it this way because of the camera that I'm using, and I had to make a lot of camera adjustments. Now I spin them around and I'm starting to do the other side. I don't recommend this technique. This is only for video purposes. I like to spin them around while I'm fading. Say, for instance, if I was putting in this second line, the second guideline, I would spin them around and do the same thing to the other side. Okay, back, to the process. What I'm doing, pretty much the same thing that you seen me do on the other side. Putting on that number one guard, and I'm gonna take that bulk out. And as you can see here, I'm also doing the pre-shape up on this side. As I was saying earlier, normally I would do all this at one time to try to assure both sides being the same. And once again, the purpose of that pre-shape up is to keep that area dark as possible so that hairline can look as sharp as possible at the end. Now I just got on the number one guard, and I'm pretty much just taking all that bulk out all the way to the top of his line, all the way to the top of his hair where his braids start. Pretty simple process. Flicking out as I go up all the time, flicking that wrist out. That's very important. If you're fading a haircut, always try to flick the wrist out when you come off the hair. As you can see, this is pretty much a standard process. I'm just taking out a lot of that bulk. Not really doing much fading right now, but just taking out a lot of that bulk before I begin to smooth all that out and begin to fade all that out. Okay. Once again, man, this is Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber. I'm in the shop today. One thing I do like about having the mobile van and the shop, everybody, I won't say can't afford, because people can afford to pay for what they want, but everybody don't choose to get mobile haircuts. My mobile business took off dramatically during COVID. It's still going strong, but there's still a lot of business coming in the shop. A lot more business is coming back to the shop, as COVID starts to die down and we get further and further away from the height of the pandemic. A lot more people is coming to the shop. So, I'm still in my shop. Shop's still rolling, and I still like cutting in the shop as well as doing mobile. As you can see now, I'm cleaning this fade up, man, using those Boost FX, the only clipper that you've seen me pretty much use other than the flex to go around the shape up part. But now I'm just flicking my wrist out, man, taking out the bulkness, man, cleaning that up, smoothing that out as much as I possibly can, to get that fade smooth. As you can see, this is a real-time fade. Nothing is sped up. The video isn't sped up. This is as fast as I cut, the actual real-time cut right here. So you can see about how much time it takes We're about 10 minutes into this haircut, and we're pretty much almost got the fade down to a point where I could start working on detail work and also fading the bottom out because it is a bald fade. But as you can see, this is coming together, man. It's starting to come together, starting to look like something that this man might want to pay for. Once again, these are my go-to clippers, these Boost FXs. I like to cut. They nice and sharp. They do cut smooth. I do have other clippers that I use for particular, you know, particular haircuts. I do use other clippers, particular haircuts, because everybody's hair, everybody's grade of hair is not created equal. But these particular Boost FX for this particular texture of hair and most textures, do a real good job. So here I am going around the back, doing the same thing in the back. Can't see because my arm is in the way, but pretty much doing the same thing in the back of his head that I did on the sides, man. Getting that bulk out, going all the way to the top. And as you can see, even though the fade is all the way up to the top of his braids, it doesn't appear that he has a bowl on his head. It doesn't look like that I'm just giving him a bald fade and there's just no fade, no gradual taper effect. There's still a gradual tapered effect, even though it's real close, and I'm going all the way to the top. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like to, use my bald clippers first either. I like to keep the baldness at the bottom so that the fade looks gradual no matter how close it is. If you understand what I'm saying. No matter how close the cut is around the crown, around the top of his head, it'll still look like a bald fade because I'm not balding him up real high with like a bald edges. As you can see, I continue to clean them up. Now is when I'm cleaning up the bottom. As you see, I'm using those Stylecraft, what are those? The sabers, the Stylecraft sabers, extremely sharp clippers. I like to use them to ball out the bottom. And see, as you can see, I'm balling them out around the bottom and I'm not putting another line in. You cannot see an actual line being put in, so this makes it a lot easier to even fade that into the next level because I'm not putting a hard line in. You might see a light line, but it's not a hard line, so it allows the haircut to be much faster. And in my opinion, it allows the fade to look a lot smoother when you see the end result. So here I'm just cleaning them up, man, getting them nice and clean around the bottom, as clean as possible with the saber, the gold saber. I like this clipper a lot. Super sharp blade. I don't even use it to do shape ups because it's so sharp. I like to just use it to clean around the bottom of the head. Now I went back to the Boost and I'm about to fade that line out. And I normally fade this line out with these Boost clippers. And then I'll take my Boost edgers, which are not as sharp as the sabers or the flexes. And I'll use them to kind of take that real light, faint line that you can barely see out that I just put in with the sabers. See, right now, that's what you see me working on, smoothing all that out, trying to make that fade as smooth as I possibly can, doing detail work. Now, these are the FX edges that I was talking about. These aren't as sharp as the sabers, so they are taking out that faint line that I put in with the sabers. Doing the same thing to the other side. I'm starting out with the sabers, balling them up at the bottom, nice and clean. Nice and clean. And this isn't a I don't call this a low ball fade. I call this a mid fade, gradually. A fade is a fade. You're supposed to be able to fade from the bottom to the top. So I don't think, the fade should be extremely high unless they ask for a military fade or a high fade. Then I'll ball them a lot higher. But if they don't want a military fade, then I'll normally just keep the baldness right at the bottom and give you that gradual fade look. I think it looks a lot better. So as you can see here, I'm just cleaning them up with those sabers, and now I'm gonna come back and do some detail work with my Boost to try to take that particular line out, doing a little bit more detail. Same thing I did on the other side. trying to take those dark spots out, doing a little bit of detail work. We're 15 minutes in right now. You know, I normally do my haircuts. I have a 25-minute timeline to do my haircuts. I schedule my appointments 30 minutes apart. So I pretty much have 25 minutes to get you in and out of the chair. Gives me another 5 minutes to kind of clean my station up and prep it for the next customer. So I got about 10 more minutes to go with this haircut before I need to be finished. As you can see now, I'm starting to work on the beard. Now, I'm not finished with the top. You know, I'm going down to the beard. I'm at the 15-minute mark. I need to start working on this beard, getting it kind of cut down to the length where he wants it so I can begin to shape that up. And then at the very end, I'll go back and do more detailed work just to top off the whole haircut, just to, finish the whole thing. So he really didn't want his beard taken down too much, just wanted the loose ends cut off. So I'm pretty much just combing it out with a big comb, putting a nice one guard on it, and just lightly going over the beard to take those loose ends off. Once again, as you can see, as I do that, I'm back up to the top, actually doing my actual shape up now. These are the Flex, Stylecraft Flex. These are my go-to for shape ups. Super sharp clippers. I don't really use them on kids at all because they're just that sharp. They don't cut you. I got them adjusted so they won't cut you, but they will give you that sharp line. Just like if you got a house or you've ever cut grass at your house, and you need to have a nice sharp shape up on that lawn to make that cut look good at your house, to make your lawn look good. You need a nice shape up to bring it out. Same as with haircuts, man. You can cut the hair and the fade can look as smooth as possible, but without that nice sharp shape up to bring it out, to make it pop, you're dealing with unfinished business, man. An unfinished cut lawn, the neighbors is going to be like, oh, that lawn don't look good. Same with haircuts. So as you can see, I'm using my Flex to shape them up, giving them that nice sharp shape up, that finishing touch. And not finished yet. We're at this 18-minute mark, still shaping them up, tapping them up, going around as methodically. I'm the type of barber. I guess I've been cutting so long. I don't really do a lot of steps. As you can see, I jump from this place to that place. I don't like to stay in the same spot too long. And I'm not sure if that's just habit, how I jump around. I go from the beard to the top. I'm not sure if that's habit or not, or if it's just because I've been cutting for so long, I don't really have a particular pattern that I need to follow. But for the most part, I do cut in steps, starting out with the guidelines and then fading them up. So for the most part, I am in steps. I just, methodically go around the head, seeing what I see needs to be hit, certain spots that need to be hit, and I'll go ahead and tackle them. So, yeah, we're coming up on 19 minutes on this haircut. So I'm working on his beard right now, trying to get that down to the level that he wants, trying to put that sharp line on it with those flexes. As you can see, they cut pretty good, man. They are my number one go-to clippers when it comes to shape ups. You don't have to stay on the shape up too long because they're going to get it right pretty much as soon as you touch it. You don't have to keep going over and over and over again. As you can see now, I'm cleaning up the bottom, doing what I call detail work, cleaning them up, cleaning their hairline up. We're at the 20-minute mark now. So I'm looking at about 5 more minutes, man, to get this cut right. So right now I'm just doing detail work, man, trying to see any imperfection that I could, make look a little bit better, make look a little bit sharper, to get this guy as good as looking as I possibly can. Here is when I'm doing a little bit of highlights on my customer, man. I'm using that airbrush gun right here just to bring that hairline out a little more. Not using a lot, just a little light highlights. And this part is what I call my powder line, my chalk line, when you see a chalk line out in the street, and something happened to somebody. This is my chalk line, and pretty much what this is like a customer preference type thing. I only do this when a customer, they either seen me do it to somebody before and they like, yeah, can I get that powder line? It's just a highlighter. It highlights what you've already done to the shape up. It's all cosmetic. Doesn't do anything but look good at the very end if you like it, So I'll put that powder line on to bring that line out. Then I'll dust the excess powder off, and then I'll kind of take that. I'll make it so that you can't see it. It'll be real faint. I'll take the clippers on it and go over it. And as you can see, what that does, it just kind of makes the hairline pop out just a little bit more, almost like you put an ash line on it. So I'm finishing my man up. This is pretty much the finished product right here. Tell me what you think, comment, subscribe to my channel, and here you go. This is the before, this is the after, man. Tell me what you think, man. Subscribe. Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber.